First is that we have seen the empowerment of a new, younger generation of Ukrainians. Prior to that, they had been basically exploited and victimized by the, the oligarchs and the komsomol leftover bureaucrats, that came didn't come into. They were always there under the communist regime. They just continued their exploitation after Ukraine became independent. But the Maidan taught the people, in particular the younger generations, that they don't have to put up with that bullshit. That, with unity, with a little bit of discipline, a little bit of organization, they can actually demand things of their government. They don't have to put up with the oppression. So now, over the past 12 months, you've got a whole generation of young Ukrainians that know that they are the real power in Ukraine, and that they can drive the agenda of the government, that they don't have to just listen, sit back, and be victims. So that victim mentality has disappeared. And this will pose a great challenge to the new government, because they know that not only are these people organized and empowered, but as you know, there was a lot of volunteer battalions that sprang out to defend Maidan and that are now fighting in Donbas. So not only are they organized, aware of their capabilities and their power, but they're also armed, right? So you're not going to be putting these people down. They know they can influence what the government is doing, and if they do not see genuine progress, there's a big danger for the government that there will be a Maidan 2, Maidan 3, whatever. So you've seen the empowerment of this new generation. I think it bodes well for the future of Ukraine. Secondly, it has, as you know, unified Ukraine. It used to be that big, east-west divide. Some of it was propaganda, but there was a divide. And whether you say it's, 60-40, 70-30, whatever, you can argue till the cows come home, that no longer exists. Yes, there are still, some die-hard Russians and Russified people that, still lean towards Moscow. But I would say that within eastern Ukraine, the majority of the population, a very healthy majority, whether they're Ukrainian, Russian, or whatever by ethnicity, now are Ukrainian nationalists. You have Russian volunteers fighting in Donbas against the occupiers. So it has succeeded in unifying Ukraine. So that's the second positive development, and that you can carry forward. The third thing is that it has exposed Putin to the world for what he is. Prior to that, everybody had these high hopes. Here's an educated, smart guy we can do business with, that Russia is slowly becoming a westernized democracy. Well, what this, last 12 months has shown is that that's all bullshit. This guy's an unreformed KGB, thuggish mentality, imperialist, fascist, whatever you want to call it that. And he has totally lost his credibility. Not only has he lost his credibility, Russia has lost its credibility. It has lost its place in the civilized world and has totally isolated itself. So that has been a great accomplishment. The other positive, because I've been doing some thinking on this, that has come out of all of this, is what it has done to the diaspora community. Because in the past year, when I look at the people that have been involved here in Euromaidan Canada, the people that have been raising funds, whatever, it has brought out into the open and made activists out of people that would have nothing to do with Ukrainian organizations in the past. There's a whole slew of people, names that, Antonina Kumka, Yatsenyak, whatever, that are doing fabulous work. I didn't know who they were prior to this, right? But what has happened has motivated a lot of people, and particularly from the fourth wave, to come out and be involved, to be engaged. And we should, hopefully we will be able to capitalize this after the crisis is over, to keep these people engaged. Because we need that, fresh blood within the Ukrainian organizations in Canada. If you look at the history of Ukrainian organizations in Canada, each wave kind of motivated and created a spurt of growth in organizational life. First wave were basically peasants, settled here for economic reasons. They created a few fledgling organizations, churches and stuff, but they were slow in developing. After the Bolshevik Revolution, you saw the Strelci come in. You saw some, committed people that had been active in the revolution and post-revolutionary fighting came to Canada. They created an organization, the Strelci, which led to UNO, which led to Prosvitas. Well, Prosvitas actually came first, but there was a whole flowering of organizational life as people became involved. After the Second World War, you saw all of these DPs come in. They were educated, they were motivated, they were nationalistic, and you saw blossoming of the Liga Sum Sistema, the UNO Sistema, which was taken over by the Melnikiewski DPs, and 50s, 60s, huge growth in organizational life. UNO, there were like 80, 90 UNO branches across Canada. I think there were 60, 70 Sum Liga branches across Canada. Big flowering. Fourth wave that came after Ukraine became independent came to Canada and just faded into the woodwork. There was none of this rejuvenating force. There was none of this new blood that made an impact. They basically disappeared into the woodwork. And it's only been since this crisis happened that we're seeing some of these people become actively involved, exerting their influence, and hopefully that's a sign for the future. So there's some 4 positive things that have come out of it. Hopefully they present an optimism, an opportunity, a hope that Ukrainian life, whether it's in Ukraine or here, both will wind up being better than what they were before this happened, albeit at the cost of a lot of lives lost and a lot of destruction.